The Atlantic is so irresponsible for allowing that article to be published. And I mean horrendously irresponsible. For those of you who might not know what I'm speaking about, The Atlantic recently released an article basically accusing H.M. Wolfe, like her book Daggermouth, which has recently been acquired to be traditionally published after being independently published. They've essentially accused the book of being mainly AI generated. Now we know right now in this day and age, the conversation around AI in publishing, it's picking up speed because people are just finding too many examples and are suspecting books of being written by AI. And honestly, people are scared because people want to read a book written by a real person. They want to have a book that has, actual emotions, that actually has a human behind it. They want to maintain that artistic integrity, you know? So we can understand that right now in this day and age, like people are, the emotions are running high. But that article was wholly irresponsible. Like when I tell you, insane. So they released an article basically accusing the book of being AI generated or mostly AI written. And the basis for this article was a study that was done to basically suss out works that may be AI written or have like a huge part of it being AI written. Now, I want to mention that because initially when I saw the title of the article and I saw the discussion around it, I'm just like, okay, from what I'm seeing, it's giving baseless accusation, right? So I have to go and see for myself. What I want to say is, in terms of the basis for the article, it's not a baseless accusation. Let me actually explain what I mean. So the study, like I said, was basically a study done. I can't remember the corporation or the scientists who did it and stuff like that. But essentially, what they did is they collected or analyzed, I believe it was around 14,000 Kindle ebooks to and used that, and they placed it in Pangram, and they used different methods to determine which books have the highest likelihood of being AI generated or AI written. And the way that they did it, or from what I saw in terms of doing my research and reading, is that the main method is that they looked for rare occurrences essentially. So a string of five or more words in the books that they were analyzing, a string of five or more words of like most likely AI phrases in books. And while doing all of that and obviously going through the 14,000 ebooks on Kindle, Daggermouth had the highest percentage, or it came up as being, the most likely to have like a be AI written. I believe it was 60%. Now, this is why, when I went and I read the article, because I know a lot of people are kind of just like talking and talking and talking, and they haven't really gone and looked too much into it, especially looked too much into the actual study that the article is based on. I said, nah, I have to actually see. That's why I said, okay, you know what, the article, it's not baseless, right? But why I say that the Atlantic was still so irresponsible for allowing that article to be published is because everything after the basis, chaos, chaos. The it's not been peer reviewed. It's not been peer reviewed. And when you actually look into the study, because guys, I worked as a data analyst, I've worked as a statistician. I literally studied statistics as part, well, it was one of the modules that I studied as part of like my postgraduate degree. So it's not like I'm speaking out of my bum, okay? One thing about statistics, nothing is like 100%. It will always be, we're speaking in terms of probability and likelihood, okay? And the study itself, right? The study itself, They even spoke to the fact that, okay, you know what, Daggermouth is an outlier, which is worth investigation. They did not conclusively say that, you know what, we are 100% certain that Daggermouth is AI written, even though with the research and the study and everything that we've gone through, it's showing a high probability that a lot of the phrases may have been generated through AI text. But they're just like, we need to go deeper into this. And this is what actual people who are into like research, is what they will say. And the reason for that is because, guys, there are nuances to everything, especially when it comes to literature. Let's take a pause on like the actual people who conducted the study, saying that this is not conclusive, this is probabilistic at best. When you read the article and they stated the quotes from the book, which presented, contributed to it having such a high percentage, you look at those quotes and keep in mind, guys, Daggermouth is romantasy, or is it just romance? I haven't read the book. I should have started with that. I haven't read the book, so yeah, I should start with that. I haven't read the book, but it's the examples that they picked out and they put in the article. Now, if those were the best examples that you have to prove your conclusion that Daggermouth was most likely AI written, then I'm so sorry. You've already lost. There were, guys, for those of you who have been with me for a minute, there was a video that I did ages ago where I was just like having a bit of fun. So it wasn't really a serious video. It was just like words and phrases that we should stop using in books. You know, those cliches that you see in every book in a certain genre. And then you're just like, oh God, like when they're describing certain people and they're just like, oh, his glistening this and da 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 da, and they use certain descriptors that you see in every book in that genre. Romance has cliches like that. Honestly, guys, when it comes to genre fiction, there are cliches, okay? We just have to accept that. You can have such a mastery of the English language or whatever language that you're writing in, and chances are you cannot avoid using at least one cliche in your novel. You might, but they're cliches for a reason. They're going to come up. But I remember one of the examples that was quoted in the article, in the Atlantic article, was something along the lines of they collapsed in a tangle of like sweat slicked bodies and something like that, guys. Of course, I'm not going to remember the exact quote. But guys, if I said that to you and I said, oh, this is from a romance book or a romantasy book, you like, especially if you're like you're a romance reader or a romantasy reader, I'm telling you now, you could probably name me like 10 books that has that string of words. And I'm not even joking, like probably verbatim. They might change one word, but that collection of words, that string of words, that exact string of words, it comes up so much. It is a romance cliche. The collapsed in a heap of bodies, collapsed in a tangle of bodies, tangled up in each other, sweaty limbs. Like, guys, if you've read romance books and romantasy books, those phrases come up so often. This is why, and you guys know, I be talking about things that get frustrating. So you guys know I know what I'm talking about in terms of like cliches that are overused. We spoke about it. So that was one example. There were a bunch, but then in all of the examples, like that were quoted in the article, they followed the same pattern, as in these are just traditional romance cliche phrases that I'm so sorry, all the books have. I'm exaggerating there, but so many of the books have. And so this is why I appreciate that the study was just like, okay, it's worth investigating, because we have picked out so many phrases that are, like I said, 5 or more words being the same across like the 14,000, guys. They could have analyzed a lot, and I feel like if they analyzed even more books, there's a chance that maybe Daggermouth would have had a higher percentage, but also other books would also have a higher percentage as well, because there are so, oh guys, there are so many cliched phrases, especially in a genre as popular as romance, guys. Because romance is such a popular genre, the books are coming out of the woodwork, and it's not to say that they're bad books, but then like everyone has a story to tell, right? And a lot of people, they choose to tell that story and they release it on Kindle and, an ebook and stuff like that. So of course, there's a high likelihood that there are a lot of phrases that we will see, especially because most writers, I say most because we did speak about not too long ago about that article that there were a lot of students who thought that they could write without reading. So I say most authors are, they're readers. They love reading books. So is it so weird that maybe in the hundreds of books or maybe thousands of books that an author reads, that some certain phrases kind of stick? That certain phrases might have just found themselves in their own writing? And you know what? I saw the article, I read it, I looked into the study, and I got so livid because it just appeared to me that it was a witch hunt. Like when I looked at all of all of these factors, I was just like, it's just giving witch hunt. And that's why I'm just like, it's irresponsible. And why I say witch hunt is the fact is because in the last few months, we've been seeing so many books being accused of, being written by AI. Now, there's a lot of basis for a lot of these accusations, such as, the ChatGPT prompt being left in a lot of books. I'm just like, that is horrendously poor editing. Like, if you're going to use AI, at least use an editor to fix it up. You're still wrong for using AI. Let's not get it twisted. But damn, lazy. And to be fair, if you're using ChatGPT to write your book, that is already lazy. But your laziness extended so far as you couldn't even get an editor? Or tragic. Sorry, you guys know I be adding like just little mini comments all over the place. But yeah, in the last few months, we've been seeing like the amount of AI accusations coming out. Like they've just been coming out of the woodwork, and you know what, I understand. But the thing is, what's so concerning is that the obvious ones where you see the ChatGPT prompt. Okay, you know what? Cool. You were written by AI, or a big part of your was written by AI. Sure, but what's worrisome is when you get people accusing an author of using AI to write their book, and the accusations at that point are kind of baseless, like, oh, M dash. And you guys know I spoke about this because ChatGPT became known for using M dashes, or I've been seeing this recently, speaking in triples, like, making triple phrases. Guys, it frustrates me because I'm like, guys, ChatGPT and other AI, they were trained on like real art. So real books are using M dashes. Real books are using this sort of prose. Real books are using this literary device. But then because ChatGPT was trained on obviously like good writing, maybe even bad writing, but just a collection of, the books made available to it. And then that's what helped ChatGPT form its own, I guess, writing style as an AI. I don't really know how to say that. Of course, it's going to look like books that exist. And it's so hard being someone who writes and knowing that you have a chance of being accused of AI for simply having like good prose. It doesn't even have to be the best, but simply having good prose, having, a good command of the English language, knowing how to use punctuation, okay? Because I like M dashes, okay? Yes, we can use other things. We can use, a semicolon. We can use a lot of things, but I like my good M dash, Please, like, why are people out here bullying us? Okay, I'm getting lost again. But yeah, so with all that happened recently, it's just become a witch hunt. Yes, within the public, but then to now see that it's not just the public that's doing its witch hunt. We now have professional bodies, just joining in on this witch hunt. And this is why I say it was irresponsible, because again, with the study saying that this is probabilistic and not conclusive, and then it not being peer reviewed, and then the phrases that were picked out that pointed to it possibly being AI being so commonly used in romance. Like, with all of these factors, I'm just like, allowing that article to be pushed out without further research, irresponsible. I think that was such poor journalism. Poor journalism. You know what I think? You know what I think is good journalism? I forgot her name, but there's this creator, and she is committed to really looking into the plagiarism allegations about like Powerless plagiarizing Red Queen. And she's not just going, the themes are a bit similar, the plot is a bit similar, because honestly there's nothing new under the sun, so you can't really just say, oh, things are similar and call it plagiarism. No. She read all the books, all the books in the series, and she went line by line comparing motifs and themes. She found like similar phrases, sometimes exact phrases. She found plot lines and storylines that literally were just like, come on, this definitely was stolen. I first found her on TikTok, and so she had it like I first found her when she had only first read the first book in the Powerless series, so like Powerless essentially, and literally a whiteboard of the similarities. So she had Red Queen here, and then she had Powerless here, and she was just like boom 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 boom. And I'm pretty sure she has a more extensive breakdown on YouTube. I haven't watched that yet. But see, that's what I would expect you to do if you suspected that H.M. Wolfe Daggermouth was, written by AI, and you wanted to write an article essentially accusing her of basically writing her book with AI. You find the study, okay, sure. The study says 60%, okay, sure. But the study also says, again, probabilistic, yeah? Not conclusive, not definitive. And so you decide, I want to have journalistic integrity, And so I'm going to go and do my research. Let me go and read the book, okay? And let me try and, actually suss out. But no, you saw the study, you said, yeah. I'm just going to go by what they said. No further research, nothing. Irresponsible behavior. And it feels even more like a witch hunt because H.M. Wolfe recently got acquired, by Simon & Schuster, to be traditionally published, because it started out as an indie published book. And we're so happy for it. And it's what I'm picking up, I'm not liking, because now it just seems like this has given people it's just lit a fire under companies and publishers to start attacking certain individuals. The pattern is forming, so we can't say conclusively, but I don't know if you guys heard, because this is recent on the Publishers Marketplace. There was a book written by a Black author acquired, and there was an auction. So that's how people wanted that book so badly, and I can't remember which publisher won out, but they paid $2.5 million. Is it dollars or pounds? I believe it's dollars for the book, and it was in I think it was 14 publishers who were fighting to earn the rights to publish the book. And then we've recently heard, I believe this was yesterday, at least that's when I saw it, and it looked like it was literally fresh news, that they have canceled the deal because of AI acquisition, AI suspicions. And I'm just like, okay. Now, they haven't released the name of the author. I haven't seen that yet. But what we do know is that whoever the author is obviously they have vehemently denied using AI. Same with H.M. Wolfe. She also denied. She's like, I did not use AI. But with this acquisition, they're just like, no. But then what's so annoying. And what is giving witch hunt is they at least they haven't disclosed yet to us. And even when the author was speaking, they're just like, one, I haven't used AI. They were just like, they weren't told what was going on. They just heard that obviously the deal was canceled, and the disappointment in her agency for basically not backing her or having her back, because honestly it does not look like they had her back. But I'm questioning, what tools did you use to prove that AI was used? Because if 14 of you publishers and your editorial teams, you guys saw the book, you read the book, you looked through the book, and your processes did not highlight any AI usage, but now out of nowhere, oh, we're letting it go because AI usage. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? So it went through so many rounds of like editing and analyzing, so much so that 14 of you said, yeah, we want this book, and none of you caught any whiff of AI until after. No, it's giving witch hunt. It's giving witch hunt. And I do not like that it is another Black author that has now been subject to an accusation that right now is seemingly unfounded and really baseless because they've not provided us with the evidence that said anything. I don't like it. I don't like the pattern that I'm seeing. Now, if I hear another Black author has gotten a deal snatched away from them, I'm so sorry. The pattern will look like you guys are specifically targeting Black people. But again, allegedly, and we're just going to have to monitor the pattern for now, okay? But I really think that this article by The Atlantic is what has really kind of just lit a fire under people to really just get them going on a witch hunt of baseless accusations, and which is why I'm just like, this was very, very irresponsible. I think The Atlantic should take responsibility for how irresponsible it was and take accountability for it. And people are just like, oh, well, do you want them to take the article down? I don't really know, but I think they should come out and be like, okay, we were probably premature in posting this article. I honestly feel like H.M. Wolfe, you know what, H.M. Wolfe, what I love is that Simon Schuster said, listen, we did our checks and we are happy to keep backing H.M. Wolfe. You know what? Power to Simon and Schuster. Love you guys for that. So I absolutely love that, again, which is why I'm saying, like, with the 14-way auction, like, you guys went through all your checks and you guys are only saying this now. But maybe we can look into that story another day as it develops. But yeah, Simon and Schuster said, no, that's our babes, and we're sticking beside them. H.M. Wolfe, Daggermouth, we're sticking beside you, and I love that. And so I'm sure H.M. Wolfe, I'm sure they're not bothered at all, that they're just like chilling, like, I got my deal. But also, this is something that damages reputation. Like, this, people are already speaking about it. I'm sure some people are probably now looking and being like, oh, with AI, I'm gonna throw away my Daggermouth book, because you know how quick people are to jump on things. Like I said, I went and I looked into the study, but I know other people are not going to go look into the study. Some people won't even look into the article. They'll just see the article title and be like, oh, it's AI, and they're going to keep it pushing. That's how a lot of people are. We're not going to lie and pretend that's not how a lot of people work. Some people just do not want to do the work of research. I get it. Research can be a bit long, and so this is why a lot of people even just go and look for videos or look for a post. And so the potential damage that can come from just that accusation, and that was honestly based on just, something that's not conclusive. And also, let's not even forget the fact that AI checkers and stuff like that, they are notoriously untrustworthy. I'm just like, why the heck did they think this article was a good idea? This is why I'm saying witch hunt. It was witch hunt, and it's giving bias. And like I said, the accusations were not baseless. It's not like they just put it into ChatGPT and said, ChatGPT, is this AI generated? That's not what they did, no. But let's not pretend like there wasn't more work to do before you put out that article. Guys, oh goodness me, absolutely, like that. I think this is such poor journalism at work. I think this is absolutely, it's I actually think it's kind of disgusting what they did here. And so while Simon and Schuster are sticking behind H.M. Wolfe, and that's great, I still think The Atlantic should be made to like, pay up some repercussions. I don't even want the article taken down. It's already out there. It's already done its damage. Pay money. Like, it's because to me, I'm like, journalists, they have their they have their protections, and I truly believe journalists should have their protections, but they also have, like, what I believe would be rules that they stand behind. For example, they're not going to give away their sources and stuff like that, but I also believe that you guys do your research now. And if you're not going to do that, then you know what, pay the consequences, because no, that this was poor journalism at work. I'm so sorry. It was absolutely poor. And I think any bad press and bad effects that will come from this, nah, they should pay for that. Ghetto. But we'll have to really just kind of watch and see as more of the story unfolds, and yeah, let's just see what goes on. But like I said, HM Wolfe, they've denied that they use AI. Simon and Schuster are sticking beside them. Love that. But the AI witch hunt, it continues all over. All over the world, really. People are in a panic when it comes to art and creativity and AI taking over. So it's not like I don't understand, but I think and I've spoken about this before, but these recent situations have made it, I think it's made it even more clear how soon we need like better standards when it comes to AI and everything that involves AI, including making accusations of AI usage. Because everyone has said, oh yeah, you have to declare when you use AI, but a lot of people, when they use AI, they're not going to do that. But yeah, it's insane. Guys, this entire situation actually made me upset, because I'm just like, okay, so now I'm seeing two Black authors who are suffering because of AI accusations that they have both denied. I am a Black woman who's writing a book, and I'm just like, I would think that I have a fairly good command of the English language. Usually when I'm writing, when I speak, you would like, I know a lot of people hear me speak and they're just like, baby girl, like, your English is tragic. And then they look at my writing, they're just like, oh yeah, I'm not the best at articulating myself when it comes to actual speech, but when I have a piece of paper in front of me, or obviously my laptop or my phone, and I get to typing, the words just magically, not say magically, but it's like my brain lights up when it can actually write things down. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, as like a woman who's Black, who's a writer, and this is the this is the landscape that I'm stepping into as I'm writing my stories. I'm just like, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And it's scary to think that sometimes the people who are meant to be supporting you, like your agency, or who would be your publisher, they're not going to back you, or they're not going to support you as they should. And so I'm just like, oh God, it's the wild, wild west out here. It's the wild, wild west out here, and it's absolutely scary. But I'm hoping for the best. Again, Atlantic, irresponsible, actually kind of disgusting, icky, and I think you should be held accountable for that poor excuse for an article. Okay, but that's what I have to say. Let me know your thoughts on all of this, everything that's going on, because it's a lot. But yeah, let me hear your thoughts, and I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.